My family has a long history of being in the military. Both my grandparents, my uncle, my brother were all in, and so it's also something that I wanted to do. I also just loved veterinary medicine. Interchangeably, I was like, well, if I can be a vet for animals that are in the military, like, how's that not the best job in the world? I started to apply for the National Guard when I was in high school, and then they essentially told me there's no veterinary positions in the National Guard. So I backed off of that, went to college, went to vet school, and then ultimately joined the reserve once I got out of vet school. Initially, it was just monthly drill and 2 weeks a year. We do veterinary medicine, and I got put on a couple of little community service, spay, neuter, vaccine type missions. And then in 2020, I got deployed to Afghanistan during the retrograde, and so I was there for most of that and saw a lot of dogs. We had, I think, 6 major cases where we had some surgical procedures that we went through. Nothing was trauma, they were all medically based, but we did have a very busy time while we were over there. The way veterinary medicine works, it's actually twofold in the military. So there's a clinical aspect that we take care of the dogs, and then there's a food aspect where we make sure that all the food is good and wholesome for every service member and basically everybody that's on base. When we got into Afghanistan at Bagram, which was the main base, there were about 40,000 people on the base, and then the dogs are spread throughout. When we got to country, there was about 120 dogs, and by the time we left, I think we were probably around 60 to 30 dogs. A lot of times a veterinarian's not going to be with that unit while they're traveling, so we also do training for them that's field care, so that would be the equivalent of a EMT. We can tell them these are the things and procedures that you can do to buy some time so that you can actually get your dog to me. My love for it comes down to return to function. So I love being able to take something and being able to put them back in that job. In Afghanistan, he had an infection in his chest, and he really couldn't walk any further than my exam room. And to be able to take him to surgery, fix him, get him through his recovery period, and put him back into work, and he never had to leave Afghanistan was amazing. And to be able to watch him throughout my entire time while I was deployed was really cool to watch him grow and develop. I've always loved surgery. My commander was emergency boarded veterinarian. One of his things before we left for Afghanistan was he wanted to know what my goals were. And I had told him, I'm kind of bouncing around the idea for residencies. I really like emergency medicine, but I've always loved surgery. And he was essentially like, the only cases I ever hear you talk about are surgery. So he helped me just start moving forward on the path for surgery. I got back, I was working with a company that helped me get into a surgical internship, and that surgery internship led me up to Michigan State University, where I did an orthopedic research position with Dr. Desjardins, and ultimately that got me into a surgery residency at Michigan State. I do think the variety of experiences that I've had helped me in surgical residency because I've been outside the university setting. I have experience in performing surgeries, and now I can fine-tune those skills and just be the best surgeon that I can.